everyone, team member Mark Sheeran here. Listen, everybody's been asking why we switched to the Skinner peep sights this year, and there's a whole bunch of reasons. First of all, the owner of Skinner Sights, Andy Larson, was willing to collaborate with us to build the best ghost sight for tracking on the market, and he took our input and really put it into practice. And the aperture, the ghost ring itself, is thinner, so it allows more light in. It's all steel construction. It's got a lifetime warranty, and it's also a very elegant sight. So there are some other features as well. The ghost sight itself is dovetailed into the body of the sight, which makes it really, really sturdy, and it can't fall out of adjustment. And between that and the fact that it's all steel, and the peep sight is optimized for the tracker and the still hunter, it's an amazing sight. So you can go on to bigwoodsbucks.com and get your BWB Tracker Series peep sight today. All right, good luck on the hunt.
This is the Big Woods Bucks Podcast. Come explore the big woods and timber in North America with your host, Maine Master Guide and deer tracking expert Hal Blood. Listen to Hal and co-hosts Lee Libby and Joe Cruzy as they unlock the secrets of big woods whitetails. Each episode will provide valuable insights into the tried and true system Hal has used for the last 40 years to scout, locate, and hunt mature big woods bucks. Listen and laugh as the crew discusses Hal's legendary adventures and learn how to apply a lifetime's worth of lessons from the big woods to your own hunting and outdoor adventures.
Welcome to the Big Woods Bucks Podcast. I'm your host, Hal Blood, and I'm sitting down here at Pileland Lake, not in the lodge, in a camp, looking out over the lake on a nice sunny day with Joe.
Hello.
And old guide Mike.
Hey, how you doing, everybody?
Sounded a little overmodulated, didn't it?
Now, what was that all about, Joe?
It's volume control here. I'm a little rusty.
Okay.
Got it.
And Bad Lee couldn't make the trip again. I guess he's jammed up, but he promised the next couple of ones he'll be around for, so we'll see what he's got to say about things.
The world misses.
He'll be down at Huntstock, right?
Said he was.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Do you lean on him, Hal, sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
Up? Okay.
Got to.
Yeah.
Because I do, but it doesn't do any good, so.
Yeah.
I want to hear
boss
that.
Has to.
I want to hear that lean on him, Libby. That's the one I want to hear.
Yeah. He knows when I call him Leon.
You mean business?
Yeah.
It's like his mom getting after him.
Yeah. But you ain't never going to change
Leon, Libby.
Yeah. Never change Bad Lee. He is what he is.
That's why we
That's
love
a good
him.
thing.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've had a lot of water over the dam in the last couple of weeks since the last podcast. So
Anything happen?
Yeah, a few things happened. Yeah. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And old guide Mike's going to start it off.
I am.
Guide Mike. Glad you're here talking, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, put it out there real quick to folks that don't know. Tuesday the 5th, I took a heart attack. 3 of them, actually. They life flighted me out of Jackman, Maine to Eastern Maine Medical, if that's what it's called now. I don't know. I guess it's called Northern Light now, huh?
Bangor. Yeah.
Bangor. The hospital in Bangor. There we go. Anyway, they life flighted me in there and threw me on a gurney, and that was the last thing I remembered for 3 days. And I guess the medical team there, they did wonders, and they saved my life.
Yeah.
So I'm here, and I can thank God and thank everybody, but the outpouring of love from the hunting community was unbelievable, and still get choked up talking about to this day. But it was incredible. It just goes to show you what kind of people we are and what kind of people are associated with us. And it was just, hundreds. I can't even tell you. And I'll tell you, that has a lot to do when you want to get feeling good. When people treat you like that, it helps you. There's no medication any better, I don't think.
No.
And coming home was pretty good because we all my daughter-in-law came up from Connecticut, and she brought the COVID, and so
They all got COVID.
yeah. And Marie kind of got it first thing, so she couldn't come in my room anymore, and that wasn't much fun. And then they kind of isolated me in a room, and I couldn't leave, and I couldn't have any company, and I was like a caged animal. And of course, as you can guess, that didn't go over too good. And the doc and I, we had a few talks. But anyway, they finally let me come home, and I got COVID when I got home.
Yeah, so I was in town doing something. I knew Mike had just got home, so I was looking for a good opportunity to swing in. I drove by one day, and I see him on the porch. Oh, this is perfect. So I swing in there. We had a nice visit for a little while, Mike, Marie, and I. And I was home that night, and Mike sends me a text. I'm real sorry, Joe, but I got COVID. And I'm like, let's see. I shook his hand, gave him a hug. We didn't make out, did we?
I missed that part if we did.
But I'm not worried about it anyway.
No.
It didn't matter to me.
I had horrible night sweats. And excuse me, I still got the chest thing. And that was about it. And it did slow me down. It slowed me down getting out and getting back in the groove, and doing my chores and being there for you guys and all that stuff. But anyway, it's going away, and it was just a pain in the ass is what it was more than anything, huh? But
well, describe. So, when I got the call from Marie when it happened, it was lunchtime, and I got a text actually that you were life flighted. And with a heart attack, you never know. It can be you're out of the hospital the next day, or you don't get out of the hospital, And so, of course, everyone was monitoring, wanting to know. And you always feel in that situation, you don't want to bother anyone that's going through it. But we had a pretty good, I think it was Mike Eads that got the line in there to Marie, so we would get all of our updates that way. And it was like a roller coaster, to be honest with you, because it was like, oh yeah, he's gonna get a stent, it's gonna be all right. Oh no, it was a tough night last night, and then oh yeah, you're doing better. So I wanted you to what you told me about when they had to jumpstart you, how good that felt.
Yeah, they lost me a couple of times there and give me the paddles, and I guess they prep you for that a little bit, but I had air in my heart, so they had to do it. They had to get right on and doing that. And geez, I remember the first time they hit me. I swear to God, I come off that table 10 feet, and then of course time didn't mean anything at that point. But then I know that they hit me again with them, and that was your whole world comes right out through you, huh? But anyway, yeah, so, geez, and I mean, it was crazy because I don't know, Woody and Hal and some of you guys beat the damn helicopter there. And Marie says, she says, the guys have showed up already out there. She was telling the kids, because the boys, Kyle drove up from Connecticut, but because Cam, he was 120 miles an hour from southern Maine to Bangor, and he was there before a lot of folks. And yeah, it was that the paddle thing. You watch that stuff on TV, and that's what you're watching. Yeah, TV.
So what you told me is you were unconscious when they did it. Obviously, you were out, but you still felt all the pain.
Yeah, I felt both times. Just like it hurt. It did. But after it was over, because then I don't remember anything after that either. And everything happened on a Tuesday, the 5th, and Thursday they brought Marie in and told her that they had to wake me up because there's chances of a little bit of brain damage, maybe where there was air involved and this and that and everything.
She notified him you already had some before you went in, right?
What's that?
Brain damage?
Yeah. She told him she might not be able to recognize it. But so they told her to wake me up, and after they explained to her what might be, what might not be. So because Marie comes up and takes my hand, Michael, And the dog goes, "No, Marie. And that's not how we want it done. You need to scream at him. We want him to know it's you." So, because my wife's all for that, huh?
Pick the right person for the job, huh?
And it's funny. Like, the first few times she did it, like whisper and all that, I don't remember that. I didn't remember her touching me. I didn't remember her whispering to me. But when she screamed at me, I remember that. And I'm like, because I guess I kind of looked at the dog, and I'm like, "Why are you screaming at me? Why are you screaming at me?" And he goes, "Your wife's screaming at you." And I looked, and there she was, and I took her hand, and I've been awake ever since. Thank the Lord.
Nice.
Yeah. I know. Me and Chris met up there on the next day. It was Wednesday, and we got to go in to see you there. But you were out of it then, and you'd open your eyes about a little bit of a slit there, but I couldn't believe the tubes and wires and stuff you had stuck in you everywhere.
Oh yeah, you sent me a picture, and I was like, "Holy cow!"
Tubes in both arms, wires, and there was seemed like about 10 or 15 machines there that was monitoring stuff, and he had that pacemaker thing stuck down through his jugular vein down in there, just in case, and
pumping deer blood into him.
Yeah, something. Jeez, you didn't look very good.
Truth, no, Joe, I was okay when they were talking. I could hear them, but I figured the old man wanted me to carry bear bags or something.
You just acted like you were sleeping. I do that all the time with them too.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So me probably figured there was work involved.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, it ended up being 2 or 3 arteries. You got a couple stents, right?
Yeah, they put a stent in one that was blocked really, really bad. That's probably the one that landed me there, huh?
90%, you said, right?
Yeah, a little over, I guess. But anyway, they got in there and opened that up, and then there was a couple others that are a minimal amount compared to that. So we're working on some meds to dissolve those up and get them opened up. So I'm on. Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day, boys, but I got me one of them pill things. It goes Monday through Sunday. You know what I mean? All our grandparents got them, right? So I got one of those pill things there, Monday through Sunday. I said to Maria, I go, this is the epitome right here, having that damn thing.
That's old age, right there.
Yeah, I went from never taking a med in my life, huh? Even through cancer and all my joint replacement. I never taken a med ever.
At first, when you were using your finger saying how long that pill thing was, I thought you were talking about a certain pill. I was like, did they use that already?
Yeah, so anyway, but I fill that thing up on every Sunday,
Well,
yeah, so anyway.
Just tell everyone it's for vitamins, Mike. Just vitamins.
I'm still on my vitamins, and, like they said when they were taking my med list there, they go, I said, no, I take vitamin C, I take vitamin B, and that's all I take. And they're looking at me like, really? You're 69 years old? I go, I know, I'm well aware how old I am. But I don't take any meds. No. Now I do.
You probably always will have to now, Mike.
Yeah.
Once you get on them.
Two of them, they say that I might be able to get off, but the rest of them, I'm on forever, I guess. So, yeah. But I'm ready to go. I'm as soon as this weather's kind of kicking the crap out of me. But once this weather passes, I'll be right back out there and looking forward to getting out there and getting in the woods again. I miss it a lot already. So.
Yeah, that was the other part of the story too. That was what could have been was
right.
You were supposed to be fishing with Sammy, huh?
Yeah, Sammy Dalty there. We were supposed to fish that night, and thank God that this didn't happen with Sammy and I out there. I couldn't live with myself, But yeah, so it hit me in the morning. I was just getting ready to mow my lawn, and all of a sudden, my bottom jaw was like incredibly painful.
I think this part's important too for people out there because some of the symptoms are class, textbook, but some you don't really know.
Yeah.
You all right, Hal?
What'd you do?
As I said that, he grabbed his arm.
Oh, hit my funny bone on the
Oh,
stomach.
okay.
Oh,
You're not having a heart attack. Get the paddles.
we can laugh at that. Funny
Get
bone.
to see Mike hitting him with a wooden paddle over the head.
Yeah, but Sammy and I there, we planned on going fishing, and and as it turned out, everything happened the way it did. But yeah, geez, I thank the Lord that I wasn't out there with Sammy, and had put that stuff on him, because I'm going to tell you, folks, we all feel something every once in a while, especially when you get up around our age, and you always knew, that's probably this or that. I'm going to tell you, like self-diagnosing stuff, you shove that. I'm telling you, when you get something wrong with you, find out what it is, I mean, because, now when my teeth hurt, it didn't hurt terribly. So it wasn't like, I knew it wasn't a toothache because it was my whole jaw. But at the same time, I knew that's not right. And by the time that I said, well, because, I only live 300 yards from the health center,
Right.
So at that time, I was actually going to walk down. Well, then I started getting the pains at the top of my shoulder, left shoulder. And then I knew something was wrong then, so I jumped in the truck and got down there. But I'm telling you, don't mess around with stuff, because if that had ever happened 3 miles in the woods and nobody was around but me, scouting for deer or whatever it might have been, I wouldn't be here right now, So don't mess around with stuff, folks. There's a lot of people out there that love you, and you got to take care of yourself. I mean, these guys I'm sitting with, it was amazing. I can't tell you how the outpull was just crazy. It was just awesome, but it kept me alive, I figure,
Wasn't your time, Mikey.
No.
God had a plan for you to be around for something else here.
That's it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Now, you told me you, I asked if you remembered anything while he was out. Didn't remember a thing, but told me he wrote a song.
It came to me. I guess nightmares are kind of common, when they put you in induce those comas and stuff. And then, I did. I had a nightmare and had this song, and we made a movie over in Rangeley a few years back, me and Bad Lee. And one of the actors there was Don Scribner. Some of you have probably heard of him. And when that song came to me, in my dream, Don sang a few lines. Thought that was, but I listened to Don's music, so it didn't totally surprise me. So anyway, so I jotted down the song as soon, and I remembered every word. It was kind of weird, but the next day when I kind of got my crap together, I jotted everything down and kind of looked at it and read it, and it was like, holy cow, this is really funky. I didn't know what to think. But so anyway, Don wanted me to send it to him. I talked to Don, and we talk a lot anyway, and I explained to him, and he says, well, if you feel good about it, send it to me. And I haven't yet, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. But yeah, that was kind of strange. That was strange. I guess it's a nightmare when you dream about a song like that.
Yeah, it's always interesting hearing stories like my friend Joel, who one of these days we got to have him on here, but he's had a few real close near-death experiences, but he actually had an experience where he died and came back, and he had some pretty unbelievable stories from that as well that I'd love for him to share sometime on here, but it'll make a believer out of you if you're not, is what he said, and just a very interesting, and
yeah.
And I don't know what your song is, but maybe one day we'll hear it.
yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind some people reading it just to see how strange and how true it really was.
The fact you could recall it when you came out is incredible.
That baffled me to death. Especially the fact that I can't even remember what I did an hour ago. In regular life, you know how I am, you guys, and for me to remember that and write it down word for word, it was kind of added to the strange part of it, I guess.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, from one podcast to another, you're here with us again. So
Yeah, I'll get on this show somehow, folks. Whatever it takes, you know.
Hey.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get right back at them here this fall, and you know, we've had a few other bad things happen too, though. Maybe we ought to talk about that.
Yeah.
Huh, it's
Joe?
been a crazy couple of weeks.
Been
I'll say
unreal.
that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so probably a lot of you have seen. I put one post out on social media, but we had a big wedding at the lodge, really good wedding, Saturday night. About 160 people, I think. Really good bunch of people from Maine. Good crew. Had a perfect weather, nice night. In fact, I walked out probably about 11 o'clock that night. I was getting ready to head out, but the lodge was all lit up and everything, so I snapped a picture of it. It's just one of those, you know, everything looked right. Everything was, you know, light was right, everything, you know, and so I snapped this picture and sat there and thinking how good the building looked. And 6 hours later, my wife's phone rang. It was 6 a.m. We were still in bed that night. We got home late. And her phone rang, and it was the alarm company that monitors the lodge. And we get calls every now and again because there'll be like a telephone fault line, or, you know, a smoke detector will be dusty or whatever will go off, or someone will set it off by accident. So I don't get too crazy when they call, but for some reason, I was a little bit more motivated. I was getting ready pretty quick, and I was right next door. Our place where we stay is 300 yards from the lodge. So I came out the front door of the camp, and I could see a little bit of haze going across the lake, and I didn't think that was very good. But where the fire pit is in front of the lodge, sometimes, you know, that it burns all night, and then it would be smoky. So I hauled ass over there, and when I got there, the wedding party was running like crazy. They had found an extension ladder on the back, and I went around the front of the lodge, and it was in flames. It was burning. It was burning up on the fire was then up at the peak of the gable that faces the lake. And so the first thing I thought, because of where it was there's a light right up at the peak there, and I thought that it was that light. It must have started right there, but you never know. And there was a guy there that was, I didn't know at the time, the guy that initially spotted the fire and called it in. He was there, and he had a Monmouth Fire Department sweatshirt on, and he was barking orders and directing and telling people what to do. They had already got the sprinkler hose that was out front and got water going, and they were spraying water on it. But there was just, at that point, there was no way a garden hose was going to do any good. But everyone was running and doing everything they could. And I've had some issues, not issues. My knee's been, bothering me a little bit lately, where I limp around a little bit. Well, I started running and not knowing how bad it was, I wanted to get inside and see if we could do anything from the inside. Well, I had to unlock the door to get in. I went in and there was, it was just full of smoke inside. It was probably, there was a little bit of airspace about 3 feet off the ground, but I made it in a short ways, and I was like, what the F am I doing? I got to get out of here, and turned around and came back out, and 911 had already been called, and they were on the way, but we're remote, and I know it takes time. But that was the fortunate thing about it being Sunday morning, is that all the volunteers were home and available. So the fire department showed up. We had Jackman, West Forks, and Rockwood. I think Rockwood was the last one. They ran out of water pretty quick on the truck and got a truck down to the lake and got a pump going. So it was good fortune to be so close to the water to be able to get that. Otherwise, they would have ran out of water, and we would have watched it burn to the ground. So anyway, that running around and everything, really, I couldn't even hardly walk on my knee. It was on my leg. My knee was so bad, which, when you can't get around and something like that is happening, it's even more frustrating, But there was, just like Mike said a minute ago, there were so many good people running and doing everything they could just to save the lodge. And, I had to make that call to Liz. Had got the call that the alarm company had called, but I took off, and she had no idea what was going on. So I had to call her and tell her that the lodge was on fire. And it's my daughter's getting married. As we talked about before in August 20th. And so we've done all these weddings over the years at the lodge, and hers was the next wedding that was going to happen. And here we are. It's not going to be able to get married, at the lodge. And so that was, aside from the thought of losing the building and everything in it, that was a pretty emotional thing, after all this, not being able to share the lodge and with all of our family and friends coming and all that. So we were, we're watching it go, and I still didn't know. I thought the gentleman that had the Monmouth sweatshirt on, I thought he was with the wedding party. I thought he was just part of their group. But it turns out he's got a camp across the lake, and he was fishing, and he looked over and he saw the flames coming out of the gable on the front there. He called 911. He thought to snap a picture at that very minute that he saw it so he could show fire investigators what he saw and what stage it was at when he saw it, which I thought was amazing that he had the wherewithal to think to do that. And he came flying in on his boat, and he went into action. He was the one that got the hose going. He actually told me he went to shut the power off because his day job is he works for CMP, which turned out, and I'll explain in a minute why that was so critical. But he was there taking charge of the situation even after the fire department showed up, because I think maybe the number of fires and stuff he was a pretty experienced guy there to know what to do. And so something I learned, all my roofs are all metal, all the cabins, everything. I love metal roofs, but they're a blessing and a curse when it comes to fire, because they keep the fire subdued somewhat because it doesn't allow any air to get in. It can't break through it to open up the roof to where it gets in. But the downside is that you can't put it out because the water can't get to it. So it was burning underneath that metal. But they broke the windows, they didn't break the windows. They opened the windows and were able to get water in the front that way through the windows. But what really did it, there was two things that did it. Was there was the CM, he was able to take the CMP because we had to get up over the peak in order to get the water down to be effective at all, to dampen it. And at that point, the focus was on saving the second half of the building, because this is all happening in the main open lodge area. So the effort was to save, obviously, the bar, and then we have the 4 guest rooms and kitchens and all that stuff behind it. And it was to that wall, that breaking point in the building. They backed the bucket truck up, and he knew how to run the bucket and get it up there and right over the peak. And he got a fire outfit from Rockwood, put on an oxygen tank. I mean, the whole 9 yards. The guy just unbelievable. Got up there and got the water going in there, and he stopped it from spreading any further. And I got to find out who called him, but someone got a hold of Jamie Shelley, and he brought his Prentice loader down here, and he took the claw and just peeled the roof back like a sardine can, and that allowed them to get the water in there and stop it. And if not for those two things, building would have burned to the ground. It was just
amazing.
Yeah. And, it's when it was happening, when Liz got over there and everything, I really had it made up my mind. I was already working through, all right, we're going to clear the slab off. We're going to get a big event tent. We're going to do, because we got not just my daughter's wedding, but we got like 4 or 5 weddings after that. Those brides are just as important. They want to get married. They don't want their venue burned to the ground. So, I was thinking, all right, what are we going to do? We're going to clear it off, get a tent, do this. Then hunting season, we're going to have to set up another building. We'll do meals there. Like all these things they go through your head, because in my mind, even if they stopped it from going right to the ground, my thoughts were, there's no way in hell we're going to be able to fix this thing, not in the time. So anyway, they got it stopped, and that was it was probably not till about 11 o'clock that kind of things cleared out, and we started walking around the building. My parents were both up that weekend also, so my dad was over there, and he's got a great building mind, so we start plotting and planning and looking how we're going to do this and that, and got to rebuild the gable, and so everyone just leapt into action to get the rebuild going, and it's underway. We got it all ripped apart right now, but like Mike said, the outpouring of support and the number of people that are willing to drop everything, and the number of people that showed up, I turn around and Hal and Mike are there, and then the craziest was that Jeff and Sue were there because they live in New Hampshire, but they just happened to be over at Rick's camp. And so we turn around and Jeff and Sue Parody are there, and it meant a lot, because there's a big difference whether you're standing there alone or got people there ready to help. And fire is anyone that's been through it. I don't have to tell you, but it's so devastating because of it's gone, and it was different for sure. The lodge means so much because it's the business we built over the years, and it's got so many memories there, and all my vintage sleds that are there, and old signs from the old lodge. There's so many things that mean a lot. And after all that, like all the fire and smoke and carnage, it burned for almost 2 hours, right? All this fighting going on. And I think there was one little sign on the wall that I lost that I was like, oh, that sucks, but the rest of it was all material, furniture, tables, things like that. Like even my sleds that were inside the main lodge area, they just got to be cleaned.
No, I noticed that.
I remember looking at that Yamaha, the cowl was white, and it was still shiny white, and it's like 8 feet off the floor. So most of the smoke stayed up in the peak was the worst of it. Because when I went in and looked, I told you, I said, this ain't gonna be too bad, Joe. I got looking around. I was talking to your dad. I'm like, we were both talking it over how we're gonna fix this and that, and didn't look too bad at all. And just rounding up the materials and getting at it,
Yeah, and that's the toughest part really is the logistics right now, because we've got 4 weeks now. We had 5 weeks when we started, and we've made good headway this week. But I got to say my insurance agent, who I met on a moose hunt, he's Ryan Medore with United. He was up with his mom is married to Carrie Sperling. Carrie's done a number of hunts with us in the past, and I met him on a moose hunt and really liked him. And so he's been my agent for a number of years now. And you don't know how good your agent is till you have a problem, right?
Right.
I mean, they're all good until you have a problem.
They all take your money.
And, I really can't say enough about it, because when you're in that moment, and the biggest thing is he said he walked through there and took all of his pictures and got what he needed before any adjusters came or anything. He said, go to work, start cleaning up. I'm like, are you sure? Because that's the thing, is we just wanted to go. You don't want to leave things and have them have to do this and that. And what we did keep. So it was obvious when once you sat back and looked at the building and the pictures, it was obvious where the fire started. And it started from right behind a light fixture to the side of one of the lakeside doors. And so I pulled that. It's log slabs on there, the log siding. I pulled that off, and there was 2 wires still holding it to the building. So I snipped those wires and pulled that section off and kept that box and all that and put it aside. And so it's pretty typical protocol now, I guess. Unfortunately, because the economy, if someone's struggling and having a hard time, unfortunately, a lot of people, set the fire. So investigations he told me he does about 150 a year himself. So it's protocol to come out, especially on a big building like this and look at it. And I think it took him about 10 seconds. He determined the cause instantly. He looked at the wires behind that about a foot up or 16 inches up from where that fixture was inside the wall, where 2 wires grounded out together. And I mean, he spotted it and it was, I looked at all that. I said, when he pulled up, I said, I'm really anxious to see what you come up with, because I'm curious, you want to know what happened. And it's nice to know what happened, but it's also pretty frightening because, like he said, squirrel, a mouse, anything, could get skun pulling it through. But whatever it is, over time, it's been there for 12 years. That light fixture's been there, never had a problem. And just like that, it starts behind a wall. So it's kind of scary thinking that everything is that close to going up.
Hey, Hal here. I want to talk a little bit about our partnership with OnX Hunt. I've been using it for a while now, and if anybody knows me, they know I'm not a very techie person, but The Onyx app is really, it's a real time saver. I remember the days when we poured over topo maps everywhere we was going to go and stuff, and I don't do that quite as much anymore. Where it's really helped me is scouting, whether it's deer scouting, a moose, or even turkey hunting in the spring, which I do. It really helps out. I don't have to spend as much time running around the truck burning up the gas. I'm just basically using my Onyx. Got it on my phone. Don't even carry a GPS anymore. So I just download the areas where I'm going to be hunting, whether it's up north moose hunting, and I use it mostly on the satellite imagery. I like to see the cuts and the clearings and the turkey hunting, the hidden fields and stuff. But everybody's using it now, from the game wardens to land surveyors, and just a great tool. And with our partnership with Onyx, if you use a code BWB, you're going to receive 20% off on your first premium or elite memberships. And you just go to onyxmaps.com/hunt. You'll be glad you did. Good luck on the trail.
The other thing is that the timing of it. I mean, it couldn't have been better time. If it happened the Sunday before, it burns to the ground. No one even knows it until there's giant flames, because we didn't have a wedding. We had a couple cabins on property, but they don't know. They can't see the lodge unless they're out walking around early in the morning. And, it was just, it happened perfectly that someone spotted it. It happened perfectly that all the volunteers were ready to go. I mean, there was a pile of people that showed up, so, it's one of those things where it sucks, and yeah, we don't want to be doing a rebuild right now, but what are you going to do? You're just thankful no one got hurt. That was it. When I came around, that was the other thing I wanted to mention too, is I came around the building when I first got there. I saw the first person. I said, is everyone out? Yep. Because there's 4 rooms in that building that were occupied. We were full. And so the alarm system, we have a central alarm in there, and that's what it got everyone out. It's sometimes you look at those things as being, oh yeah, it's required by law, never need it, but you need it.
Yeah.
So that was really the biggest thing. Once I knew no one was hurt, you want to save the building, and it's hard, but it's just sticks and bricks, we can rebuild it.
No,
yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised that when I come down to look, and they had it out, they just got it out when I got there, and I looked at that and I go, this ain't going to be that big of a job to rebuild this, It's just basically the roof, a little bit on the front, the siding on the front a little bit, but the rest of the structure's fine,
Yeah. And the smoke and water, that's another big part of it. I'm dealing with him actually. He's texting me right now, the restoration companies that come in. I mean, it's amazing what they do. Come in and wipe down and clean every single little thing in there. So Hal kind of turned me on to that. In fact, I'm bringing your elk head to Brian. He's gonna get that back in shape.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's never done it, but he's up to the challenge. So
how about your moose that was there too?
Yeah, I'm going to bring that as well.
Yeah. Well, when I went in, I looked and I'm like, because I know when because I had a fire in the shop once, and the first mount I ever had, deer mount, it blew the tips of the antlers all off, like from the heat.
Right.
And I looked up, and they didn't even have soot on them. The antlers, all my Europeans and stuff in the mount, and I'm looking around, I'm like, so everything was mainly...
Well, all the heat was at the peak, so it just went out. That was the fortunate thing.
Right.
I don't know, it must have been the fire hoses that got, like all my Europeans, I had all the sheds that were on like the reproduction skulls. Those all came down and hit the ground and broke, but the antlers didn't.
Right.
Just the skulls. So no big deal, I just ran for the antlers, Sal. The antlers okay?
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
No, but that was, it's amazing, I was out there, I was like, man, that's a lot of years of nice sheds I got in there. And we're going to clean them up, and they're going to be fine. So it was a bad fire, and it was, it did a lot of damage, but it's nothing that can't be rebuilt. So,
Hal and I did the first walkthrough there. We went out back and looking at your old sleds, I expect to see melt, like on that wheel, I expected melted tires.
Oh, yeah.
Everything, you know. And there's a white Yamaha sitting there just as white as the day it was sold.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm talking, what was amazing about that is, I mean, it was smoking. It was solid for hours, you know. You would think that that would just be black soot. And there was that black soot, like, you know, back through the kitchen and all that. It got on everything, but it can all be cleaned. The other part of that is for electronics, not good.
Yeah.
You know, but big deal. You know, all that stuff is replaceable. So the plan is to be ready on August 20th is our goal, you know, as long as it's in our control and we can get all the materials we need to get. Yep. We're hopeful to have it back together, at least enough to do our weddings that we have for the rest of the season, and then we get into hunting season, which is, you know, I thought of my daughter's wedding, and then I went right to November.
Yeah.
And I was like, son of a bitch.
When I called you at 7, you're telling me, geez, I don't know what we're going to do in the fall, but I already got plans. I'm thinking we can go over to the other camp. And I'm like, what the hell's he thinking of that for?
I know.
That's the last thing to be thinking
No,
about.
I know, but you know, I guess it's you think about your commitments that you have.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people that are relying on it, and you don't want to, the last thing you want to do is call me. We have there's a wedding that's in the area this coming weekend that we have all the guests for that are staying at the lodge and all the cabins. And so we're down 4 lodge rooms. So, you know, we had to make those calls to those guests and say, hey, you know, we're not going to have it for you this weekend. And you never want to do that, you know, I mean, and people are great about it, but you know, when you're the facility, you know, you just have that feel and you want to make sure everything's set for the customer. So I was thinking, you know, I went through my mind for moose season. Yeah, there's only a couple hunts down here in 8. We're going to be good there. We can take care of those meals in another building. And I was like, geez, we get a lot of people here for November. But fortunately, we're not going to have to worry about it. We're going to have nice new big lodge area inside to have our meals. So.
Well, the best thing is you're going to be walking your daughter down the aisle.
Yep. Well, either way, that's going to happen. But yeah, we're going to be going out of the front of that lodge. That's the plan.
Other than that, folks, not much going on around here.
It's been a pretty dull summer.
Yeah. You wonder why we're waiting for deer season like we are. It's kind of boring around here.
Well, it's funny. I've been lately. It's, you know, I haven't done any big projects. I was planning on doing this week. I was planning on doing pavers all down, like right where you walk out the front of the lodge, and I was going to do a bunch of landscape and everything. I had the whole week planned out, you know, and we got a bunch of stuff going at the pit I was going to have to go down to also, but you know, I didn't have like a pressing time schedule type thing like I've been part of in the past. And I told Liz the other night, I said, you know, it feels kind of good, you know, having that crunch time pressure and a mission as opposed to just doing maintenance and doing my daily thing that I've been doing. You know, it's because we used to do a lot of that stuff in construction, in the hotel business and stuff. We were always getting rooms ready and stuff and had to be ready by a deadline and got to push. And so we got our project now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be able to wrangle you in for a few days, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Brandon's going to be coming up some.
Yeah.
And Bad Lee says he's going to come over and do my roof for me, the metal.
Yeah.
So I got to get some measurements for him, try to get that rolled in time and get it up.
You're going to rip the metal off the back too, right? Or you're going to splice it
just
in?
Down, splice it. Yeah. We're going to go down just 12 feet because what gets into that, the roof line from the bar comes into it, so it's a mess. So
it doesn't show there anyways. You
can't see it.
Can't see that.
No one ever sees it yet.
Yeah.
We'll make a good clean splice up there. We got to come down about 12 feet from the peak.
Yeah.
And we're just going to cut it straight across and then overlay it on top of that.
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge is matching up the standing seam to where it's the same.
Yeah.
You know, but we'll get that.
Yeah.
But
Lee's pretty good about figuring that stuff out.
Yeah, it won't be his first rodeo, that's for sure.
No. Well, I thought maybe we can get him to do a podcast while he's here working. That way we'll get it in. And
yeah. I think we'll have to do something before then, before that time frame comes. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, we will. Well, we'll wrangle him over here, figure out something. But anyway.
Just when we think it's the middle of the summer, I just got thinking, 1 week we can start bear baiting.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that to you two.
Yeah. Well, that was always for me. That's kind of like that was the transition from summer to fall when you start doing that stuff. That was always my schedule. Yep, starting to bear bait, so now fall's on its way, you know. So not that I do that much of it, you know. I got my 10, 11 baits I put out in the remote camp there, and that's about it. Take a few hunters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, got that going on. Oh, we got to mention our latest sponsor. You'll hear the ad on here somewhere, but it's a good opportunity for it's Wireless Communications is looking for some help. So anybody out there listening, listen up for that ad. They're hiring, and sounds like a good company, and they thought of us to be a good way to get the word out about their jobs.
Yeah, I told you there before. I spent some time with Kyle up in remote camp one time. We just ended up in the same campsite and hung out some for the week there for the moose hunt, and seemed like a real good guy. Interesting work.
Yeah.
High tower work.
Oh, yeah. They had a crew down to the Forks yesterday working wireless, and it turned out to be a couple of young fellas that I coached when I was doing high school sports, and they were up, and they'd heard what happened to me, and they were calling me and coming to visit me, and they said, we'll be the big wireless truck that pulls in your driveway. So that crew is kind of funny. We'd be talking about them. They were at the house last night, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hunt stock.
Hunt stock is coming up. That's the weekend of the 12th, 11th, 12th there.
Right.
Yep.
So we'll have another sponsor coming on soon. We're finalizing the details, but it's Minus 33 company. They're out of New Hampshire, and their specialty is wool stuff, socks, base layers, hats. They got all kinds of stuff, but they're going to be with us for a day over at Hunt Stock. Probably, I'm sure it'll be Saturday or something. It'll be the day they'd come over, but we'll when it gets closer, we'll know for sure which day, and they'll be there to explain what they got going on with the stuff. But Chris and Jeff spent a day with them yesterday talking things over and looking at this stuff, and it's Chris and Jeff said it's really superior quality stuff and something we can get behind. So they sent me, and Chris has got some, but they're sending some stuff for me to look at, and we're going to go from there.
I've only got a few things of theirs, but I like all the things that I have. And it's nice, good quality gear.
Yeah.
And has nothing to do with the other wool company that we're working with, the pants and jackets and fannies.
Yeah. This is going to take up. We're hoping to make it be like fill in the rest of the clothing system, you know, from socks to base layer stuff to hats and different things like that you need underneath your regular woolies, you know. So anyway, I'd never heard of the company before, and they'd mentioned it, and so I went and perused on the website and saw what they had. And like I said, Chris and Jeff went up there and met with them, and they're excited to work with us, so that should be a win-win. And so a little update on our other wool clothing, the jackets, pants, and packs. We had a Zoom call with the owner of that company that's doing the stitching. Very nice guy. We had a Zoom call where we went over everything and all the changes we were making. And he had a couple of his gals there that, you know, I think one of them's in charge of the stitching and the process, and the other one I think does a lot of the layout work and the patterns and, you know, sourcing the stuff and, you know, what each piece. There's more to it than we think of. You look at a jacket, you know, we say, okay, you need some wool and some zippers, but right. It's really not that. Yeah, but even outside of that, you know, every little thing they look at, like I never even noticed there's the way the zipper is put in, there's another piece of material that goes with it, and I never would notice that. I just thought it was the zipper. So they have to look at every single little seam and what goes into it. So anyways, they did that on the Zoom call with us. We was on there for, I don't know, a good hour and a half with them going over everything. And they seem to think they're gonna kind of push us a little bit to the front, I think. And hopefully he's shooting to have packs, some packs. We won't have all of them, but some packs for Hunt Stock, and the first off-the-line jacket and pants for people to look at. Hey, all you listeners out there, here's a great job opportunity for you. Wireless Construction out of Standish, Maine is looking for some new employees. A great 2-decade-old company, and they have opportunities in steel fabrication, civil technician, tower technician, tower welders, and fabricators, and outdoor voyages. It's my kind of job. Experience is a plus, but not a requirement, and they have a great benefit package with dental, health, vision, 401k, long and short-term disability, life insurance, paid time off, living expense per diem when applicable, a $300 tool and gear allowance. Geez, I might get a job there by the looks of this. If you have any interest, which I think some of you might, you can contact Darcy Weber at 207-642-5751, or you can email him at employment@wcitowers.com. Hope you get your job.
Yeah, we lost a bunch of books and Bigwood swag.
Oh yeah,
that was in the lodge, and I think maybe finally your 2016 calendars are gone too.
Oh, they can't be restored?
Jeez, what a bummer.
Hal's been pushing his 2016 calendars on people for the last couple of years, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he says, well, they're good every
4 years. It rolls around
years,
again. Same date.
That was my next question.
I told people if I didn't put a calendar, if it was just like a flip thing with the pictures and the write-up, the little story thing, there was a tip in every one, and people didn't understand the value of the calendar was in that information. It was like a miniature book, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Picture book, like just a little pamphlet book it would be. But because it's got a calendar on it, nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
It was funny. And the guy that printed it does a lot of print for us. He said, I don't think you want to do a calendar. He said they don't sell. And I go, oh, yeah, all kinds of people said they wanted them. Yeah, they all said they wanted them till they were ready. Then nobody wanted them. We won't be doing another calendar.
Yeah, that's all right. They're all gone now.
Yeah.
So it's
hopefully the next couple weeks aren't quite as eventful.
No.
And
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
It'll be eventful, but not in that way.
Yeah. Hopefully all we have to do is pound some nails and put some screws in and things like that.
Be ready in no time. Then we're going to have a big party on the 20th.
Yeah.
You guys want to come?
Yeah, I'll be
right.
here.
Are we invited?
Yeah, we're invited.
Yeah.
So
I went online this morning and bought the gift. That's what I did this
all right.
morning.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I had a couple of things. I'm looking at the guest the list that they had there, and I'd see something. Well, my wife had said, "No, we're going to get this," so I'd let that cool. Then I'd go back to what I wanted, and I bought it.
Hey,
yeah.
Maybe she'll go buy something herself.
Wouldn't surprise me none.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I guess you got to get back to work.
I got to get back to work. My phone's blowing up over here. So.
You're in demolition mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as everything's cleaned up, let me know. I'll be down. I don't want to get in on that.
Plan on Tuesday.
That dirty work.
Yeah.
I don't want to get my fingers dirty.
My plan is to have all the soot out today. I might have a little bit of not soot, but the ash. You know, everything you walk on that tracks everywhere. That's my goal today.
Well, you mean they get the beam? They got to get the beams out before you're going to get rid of all that.
No, I know, but I mean the stuff that we're tracking around all over on the ground. I mean, it's going to fall when we take them out. But
yeah. Well, until next time, good luck on the trail.
Hi, everyone. Big Woods team member Mark Sheeran here. Many of you know that I have a passion for helping people solve their addictions permanently. As a matter of fact, me and my team have spent the last 31 years helping more than 20,000 people move on from their addictions. So know this. If you or someone you love want to move on from an addiction for good, and you don't want to be stuck in a rehab or 12-step meetings or endless therapies, then you might want to learn about the Freedom Model and the St. Jude Retreat. To learn more, give us a call at 888-424-2626. All calls are confidential. Here's that number again, 888-424-2626, or go to soberforever.net for more information. I really look forward to helping you end your addictions for good. Here's that number one last time, 888-424-2626. Take care.
Hey guys, Joe here. Wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Lake Parlin Lodge. We're a 4-season lodge located just south of Jackman. We've got cabins, lodge rooms, mini lodge. We're a big snowmobile destination in the winter, full restaurant, bar, all the amenities that you need for your trip. Open all obviously through the summer, right on the lake. Kayaks, canoes, all included with the cabin. We also do a lot of weddings, so if you're looking for a destination wedding, we can do a wedding up to 200 people. And of course, we've got our hunting season, moose season, deer season. So check us out. We're at lakeparlinlodge.com.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, good luck on the trail.